Hey folks, I just wanted to do another quick sort of housekeeping video, follow up to what we talked about last time, and just a little bit more boring stuff before we start digging into things. But I wanted to talk about a couple of things, file management and other means of controlling your synth. So first off, we didn't go over savings, so I just want to make some recommendations for that. This is the rack that we came up with last time, just one module plus a controller plus our audio out. So if I hit My Patches in the upper left corner, it's going to take me back to the file menu where everything's stored. Now this patch I've already renamed, but if you want to rename it something helpful, you can long press on it and come up with a menu and then type in a new name. I'm just going to leave that as it is and just go back to where it was. So if you want to keep your settings or your basic settings, say you're worried about having to relearn how to map a keyboard and all that, you may just want to hang on to that. And what you can do if you want to tweak and do some different things, instead of starting from scratch or messing with your template, what you can do is long press and duplicate that. And it'll give it the same name with the number 2. So that's what I'd recommend. Keep yourself a template and then copy from that when you want to do new tweaks, if you like your basic build. So that brings us back in. We're in our copied file, Interzone Tutorial 2. And my setup's the same. My keyboard is still mapped. Everything stays the same as it was. Another helpful thing for getting started on a new session or doing some new exploring, if you double tap on your module, if you want to start over and not have any crazy settings, you can just hit Initialize, and that'll bring you back to this sort of sound from wherever you got to. So just a real basic sound. Alright, so that's file saving, renaming, copying files. One other thing we didn't talk about, because I was pretty focused on my keyboard controller. You may not always have access to your keyboard controller, you may not have one, or you may be on the road and don't want to bring one. That does not mean you're out of luck. You can actually use some controllers within the app. Now later on down the line we're going to talk about sequencers and all that fun stuff, but if you just want something simple for doing some basic tests, what you can do, and what I'm going to do is actually replace this and show you another controller you can use. So if I want to take this out of my rack, I can double tap and go down to Manage, and that opens this menu, and just hit delete and it goes away. The cables go away, everything goes with it. So let's see if I can clean this up just a little bit. And I'm going to add another controller. So under Basics, you do have a 12 key controller that you can put on your screen. So we're going to add that to the rack. And there's a 1-octave keyboard with octave buttons, so you can go up and down. So if you're just testing stuff, this will be a great way to do it. Just like we did before, we have CV goes to our volt per octave. That's telling these these bits of voltage, telling the synth what pitch to play. And gate, again, goes to the gate over here. There's not a particular trigger control on this, so you don't have to worry about it. But you get the same effect as having a MIDI keyboard. You just have it on the screen. So it's good for testing. You can go down an octave, down 2 octaves. If you have really calloused hands like I do, the on-screen keyboard may not work so great for you, and you don't have any MIDI control over the knobs, but it'll get you through in a pinch. So there's always options. Alright, so that's really all I wanted to do for today. It's a really short video. What's coming up next is we're going to start talking about some principles, basic principles of synthesis, and we are going to start going through all the pieces and parts of Interzone based on those principles. So the next video you can look forward to, hopefully, is the 3 primordial elements of synthesis, and I'm excited to talk to you about that. Hope you've been tweaking on this in the meantime, and as always, if you have questions, comments, please leave them in the comments so I will be able to respond to you. and I will catch up with you next time. Thanks.